Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Turbo coin. Now, look, we know that the last few days have been selling off, and we know there's practically been no real indication of reversals, right? When we look at something like, the technical analysis, a couple of days ago, I said how important it was going to be to have a candle close above 0.0063. Okay. Right. We said that it was going to be very, very important. We did think that there's a possible, opportunity for the markets to come back higher, but we did say no matter what, even if it were to go up here, right? Even if it were to go up a little bit higher, at the end of the day, what mattered was, are we going to close above this line here? Okay. And we didn't, right? We didn't. We failed. And that's okay, right? That it's okay. But it did just show that the markets are exhausting a little bit and that they are going to be kind of going sideways and slowly selling off for a preparation for another pump. Okay, right? We can see if we take away all the wicks, all the distractions, we can see consistently, right, that we are constantly creating a lower and lower high. Okay, boom right here, boom right here. And again, we have practically a double top right here, boom, but consistently we can see lower and lower. Okay, that's why I don't believe in luck or fluke or anything in the markets. I believe in technical analysis. Nothing on the charts suggested that we were going to see some type of rise. The only potential lifeline we had was the fact that we didn't close below here yet. But, that was just a very, very small lifeline. And we can see that we have officially closed below it and that we are continuing to be in a downtrend. Now, this is a thing, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a bad thing. This is just happening so we wind up for another huge rally. There's a thing called imbalance in the markets. Imbalance is when something pumps up a lot or dumps a lot, and practically means usually there's not a lot of support and resistance. And we can see, right? If we go on a daily, right, is just one huge line. When we go on the 4 hour, we can kind of see that this over here kind of has some imbalance. So, what I expect for Turbo to do is most likely be coming into the zone over here, boom, right here, right? And this is probably when we're going to have the shift of going from kind of downwards consistently to kind of sideways, right? We can see we had something very, very similar back over here. Now, this was obviously on a bigger scale, but it's still going to be the same message, right? Where, we were in a very nice tight trend. We broke it. We went a little bit sideways, right? We went from going up to going sideways consistently, boom, right? Sideways consistently to then selling off. So it was in reverse, right? It was in reverse. Boom, we can see more or less. It was kind of something like this, right? It was kind of something like this, where we're just in this sell off channel, mark it up like that. We can see, right? So we went from being in an uptrend, being in an up channel, to breaking out, to then consistently going sideways, to then eventually selling off. And then we can see, right? We went from selling off to kind of being in a consistent sideways channel like this, right? And then we had details, we had small details in the market suggesting that we were going to go higher and higher, right? We can see we had these lows, we had these double bottoms, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, consistently, right? Consistently, we had higher and higher lows. So when we're going sideways, we did have details that we were going to burst up. But we can see, right? We went from practically going sideways to then bursting up. Okay. So we burst it up very, very aggressively. But then, ladies and gentlemen, of course, now we're kind of going sideways and selling off slowly. And I just expect this zone to get filled up, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we have imbalance over here. Plus, technically, this is going to be on top of a very, very nice large support, right? This zone over here, these tops are going to act as a support. So the lowest we really should be going if we do, continue to go this low is down to 0.0046, right? There's a high chance we tap into this order block right over here, right? Tap into it, probably have some kind of like price action like this, boom, trade off of it, and then spring up. That is literally what I expect with Turbo. Now, does it technically have to happen? No, it technically doesn't have to happen now. Okay. But there's a very, very strong probability, right? There's extremely strong probability. I doubt we hold this line over here. I doubt that we hold 0.00519, right? I really, really doubt it. I do think, the markets are just looking to play everything fundamentally. That's why I've been talking about the markets and crypto and turbo in general, that overall, I think we are just looking to be very fundamental over the next few weeks. And I know I said that, and then like 2 days later, we did the most unfundamental thing ever. But this is why I believe we're getting this type of correction. And this is why I believe we will continue to correct like this over the next little while. Okay. I know some of you guys want very high consistent pumps, but just be patient. We are much closer to the finish line than we are even to the middle line. And definitely, the beginning is far gone. Like the beginning is far gone. So yeah, even in terms of pure daily candles, we can see, right, that this one daily candle is still much stronger than pretty much these four selling candles. And that's a very, very good sign. Okay, that is a very, very good sign. Yes, the weekly, I wish the weekly was doing a little bit better. We still have the rest of the day and Sunday, so we have to see how things play out. But, I'm still super, super optimistic. I'm still super, super optimistic. Sunday can just clutch up, and that's all we need, right? Is that we just need the end of the week to be good, even if it looks mediocre throughout the week, right? As long as Sunday is a fairly decent pump and we close above 0.00586, I'll be more than satisfied with that result. Okay. Even if, right, we close out the price I just said, and then Monday, Tuesday, we sell off to correct this, that's not going to bother me, right? I understand. I understand the markets, they are not trying to come back here, people. That's what you have to realize. The markets are not trying to come back to all these low prices, which is why they already came back to these low prices. And this is why they are going up slowly or down slowly for the most part. Okay. Because they don't want to be getting consistently corrected. They want to create new highs. Okay. They want to burst up. And we know from a pure market cap standpoint, okay, from a pure market cap standpoint, Turbo is it's like lower mid pack, right? Sure, 375 million market cap is respectable. It really, really is. But at the end of the day, it's not 3.7 billion, it's not 10 billion, it's not 15 billion. And those are targets that we're looking for. Okay. We can see in the last 24 hours, even on Saturday, we had 50 million volume. Just to let you guys know, we had hundreds of millions of volume, over half a billion volume in the last 24 hours when things were crazy, right? And that's not Turbo even hitting billions and billions and billions of market cap. So just imagine how much volume there's going to be when the world bandwagons, when we burst up in momentum, when altcoin season is here. There's going to be so much money flooding into Turbo. You guys are not even ready. And yeah, we can see, right? If we go, we'll look at the final thing for this video, which pretty much is going to be, how many holders there are left. While this loads up though, I'm super, super optimistic. I know Turbo is just going to take things slowly and fundamentally, which does not bother me, right? It does not bother me at all. We discussed previously why it topped out here at 0.069. And that's because this was the last wick, right? This was the last wick. It was perfect manipulation, which is what we love to see. The more manipulated this coin is, the better. The more fundamental it is also in terms of buildup, the better. Which is why I believe this coin is going to do wonders. Okay, at the end of the day, certain price actions, not certain price actions, certain price predictions are just speculation. It's probability, right? But I do know one thing guaranteed, that this coin will be pumping hard in altcoin season. Whether that's up to 5 billion, 10 billion, or 15 billion, or even more, that is more up to fate in the universe. And of course, we'll be covering the technical analysis when that's going to be happening. We can see that we are 56,434 holders. New record, ladies and gentlemen. We will continue to rise high. We will continue to smash the markets just like Turbo does, just because it might sleep a couple days, a couple weeks. Don't underestimate this coin. Never lose your faith. Remember, we are still in the recovery phases and the fun is just around the corner. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.